what I'm gonna do for this next part is I'm gonna sew on something that's really skinny. That's this shape right here. So when I'm gonna sew on something skinny, really all I have to do is just one row of stitching. I don't need to go all the way around the outside of the shape because really one row of stitching is gonna hold this just fine. So here I have yellow felt. This is some sort of collar on the swimsuit thing. And then I have my needle with yellow thread. So again, I'm going to start by taking my needle and poking it through the back. This might be a little bit tougher because now we're poking it through three pieces of felt actually. Oh, it went through just fine. So I'm going to poke it through. Remember that we pull almost to that knot, almost to the knot, almost. Okay, there's my knot, leave it there. Then I'm going to go back through with the same type of stitch where it's smaller than a staple. Put it back through. And then before I pull it tight, oh look, it already hooked my yellow thread. Do you see that? It hooked it on accident. It went through that loop, but that's what I wanted to do anyway. So I'm just gonna pull this and make sure it doesn't pull my knot through. So just give it a few tugs, make sure it's gonna stay, and there we go. So there's my first stitch. So now I think I only need 3 stitches on this one. So I'm gonna go, oh, let's see, right about there. Oh, took my piece with me. Oops. And again, if you have things like this loop coming out, the best thing to do is just kind of pull at your thread. See what you can do if you just, there we go. I kind of pulled at my thread and it took that loop away. If that doesn't work, sometimes you just cut it off and start fresh. So there's that. I'm going to go down. Okay, and then up for my last stitch. This is probably the hardest part, is guessing where that needs to go. Here we go. Okay, and then put it down through. It's a little harder to get it through this way. There we go. All right, I'm gonna turn them over. All right, so now I have to tie off my yellow thread. Now just because this one's yellow doesn't mean I can't tie it to a blue thread. So actually the closest stitch to this one is this right here. So that's what I'm going to tie it to. So I'm going to take my needle, go under the stitch. It's a pretty small little stitch. Sometimes it can be hard to get it just under the stitch and not under the felt. There we go. Under the stitch, through the loop it made, pull it tight. This yellow thread doesn't want to stay where it's supposed to be. Under the stitch again, through the loop it made twice. Pull it tight, cut right about here. Here's that. We're getting a mess of thread back here, but that's all right. There's his little collar.